with your coolest stuff at AES 2010 report. Some of the biggest news here has to have been that Avid completely revamped their product line, and the biggest news therein was Pro Tools 9. Pro Tools 9, simply Pro Tools with no letters after it, and the big deal is that Pro Tools 9 now works with any Core Audio or ASIO hardware. You don't have to have Digidesign hardware, you don't have to have M-Audio hardware to run M-powered. Pro Tools 9 works with anything. They said, the heck with it, we're going to be more open, we're going to take the walls down, and try and eat market share, which I think really is the right move at the right time. They also showed HD Native here, which does require some of their newest HD interfaces, like the HD Omni, which is a really cool all-in-one with a center section and a couple of cool mic pre's in the front of it. Pro Tools 9, the LE replacement, also includes all of the toolkits, like DV Toolkit, Music Production Toolkit, that used to be extra cost options. They're now included, and I believe the map price on that is $5.99, so a lot of bang for buck there. Add your audio interface, and you're in business. Okay, one of the next coolest things that I have seen here is the new Nucleus, which is a compact format console slash control surface slash USB audio interface slash mic pre, two mic pre's from SSL. So it's got SSL mic pre's. It supports Mackie Huey, MIDI machine control, and actually continuous controller protocol. So on the motorized faders, I think which there are 16 of. It actually supports setting up profiles for your soft synths via MIDI continuous control. Now this thing, by keyboard player standards, it's not cheap. It's about $5 grand. But by setting up a studio standards, if you think about a total nerve center for your studio, it's got line ends, it's got mic ends, SSL mic pre's, can act as your full-on control surface for your DAW, and handles all your monitoring as well, brings all your audio in through SSL analog circuitry to your DAW. It is a reasonable price to pay for the nerve center of your spare bedroom studio. That's the Nucleus from Solid State Logic. Well, Korg invited us upstairs to their hotel suite at the W over across the street here in San Francisco. And they said we could blog and talk about this. We just couldn't take video in there. We took some pictures, we tweeted some pictures in there. There's no model number for this yet. There's no name for this yet. There's a little black box with a plain black face on it. But Korg has done something that the audio industry said couldn't be done. Some kids in Japan coded this thing, and they've only been working on it for a year. DSD, also known as 1-bit audio, is pretty much the holy grail for audio resolution. Korg has their MR series of recorders, which record in 1-bit DSD format, at a highest resolution of 5.6 megahertz, which is double the sample rate of the now defunct consumer audio format, Super Audio CD, SACD. 5.6 sounds even better, obviously. It is like everything you loved about analog, but with like 10 times the clarity, and nothing you don't like about analog. I've played around a little bit with SACD. It's crazy high res. It's just beautiful. However, it's been stereo only. It's been the domain of mastering engineers. There have been some high-end systems like Sony Sonoma, but to do edits and to play around with EQs and so forth, they still have to drop back down into linear PCM, where you have a 16-bit or a 24-bit word length. Not with Korg. Korg has got this prototype DAW. We saw it running upstairs. We saw the recording engineer, we heard him play back tracks he'd recorded in the Amazon rainforest of people playing pan flutes and drumming on homemade log drums in 5.1 surround. It sounded ridiculously good. We saw him tweaking EQ points and making edits in real time, all while staying native 1-bit DSD 5.6 megahertz. Now, this is a concept car at this point. The product doesn't exist yet. It's probably not going to exist in commercial form for quite some time, but this could change the game. This really could change the game. How plug-in support would work with all the plugins we know and love. Obviously, there's a lot of logistics and commercial necessities to be worked out. But the fact is, somebody's done it. Multi-track DSD that does not have to decimate down to PCM to be edited. Okay, well, I wouldn't be here for Keyboard Magazine if there weren't some cool keyboard news. It's mainly an audio engineer which is Novation's new Ultra Nova. Now, this is the first new hardware synth from Novation to come along since the X Station, which lived a long and illustrious life. The Ultra Nova is a 3-octave, 3-oscillator, single-voice virtual analog synth. It's got a vocoder built in. It's got a lot of arpeggiation sequencing functions built into it for not for multi-track sequencing because it is only single voice, but for animation. And one of the coolest things about it is the 8 knobs across the top are all conductive rubber, so they're skin sensitive, like a touch sensitive fader. You touch it, you hit a button that says tweak, and you're turning knobs and tweaking filters and envelopes like you normally would want to do on a virtual analog synth. You hit the button that says touch, and they become real-time modifiers to the sound. So you can be holding an arpeggio down, go up and hit one of the buttons, with your other finger, like this, and it'll bring in a pulsing or open up the filter or close down the filter, and you can set up 8 of these controls to do this. Most importantly, though, the overall sound of the thing is kind of everything you liked about the Supernova, and I have a Supernova rack which I'll have to pry out of my cold dead hands. So the Nova DNA from Novation is back. They're going to be shipping in about a month. Check those out. Oh, and one more thing about the Ultra Nova is that it has a built-in gooseneck mic for the vocoder, and unlike a lot of those mics on a lot of synths I've seen where you have to eat it to get any intelligible sound out of it, this mic seems to be really articulate, really high sensitivity. So whether you're coming up with your own unique vocal effects, or you get to be the guy in your band who does the intro to Groove Tonight by Earth, Wind & Fire, or Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto, this vocoder mic will get you there. That's the Novation Ultra Nova. Also saw that the Muse Receptor II is now fully integrated with the Infinite Response VAX 77. We've reviewed both of them in recent months. I don't remember the months off the top of my head. The Infinite Response is that MIDI controller that folds in half into an airport roller, but because of the way the case is constructed, it's completely rigid when you unfold it and lock it down. It has a wonderful action which uses curled up coil springs for the resistance, so it's not a hammer action, but it has this kind of old school expensive synthesizer feel. Think Rhodes Trauma, think Yamaha CS80. It has a resistive touchscreen. It's not as cool as an iPhone touchscreen, but it still is a touchscreen, and they have a little applet now which will download all of the patch names that are stored in your Muse Receptor onto the touchscreen, and you can bank through and select patches with that top black hotkey or with the green button on your Infinite Response VAX 77. So there's a video up of me at keyboardmag.com/video or keyboardmag.com/gear under our new year AES report right now of me messing around with this thing and stepping through patches so you can see how it works. So that's the big keyboard news here. Novation Ultra Nova and Muse Receptor integrated with the Infinite Response VAX 77. Should probably also mention that the Receptor II is very soon, I saw it where there's no official announcement yet, it's very soon going to be able to run Waves plugins. So front of house sound guys or people with home studios are going to be able to use the Receptor as a farm to run all those wonderful sounding but CPU hungry Waves plugins, something we've been waiting for a long time.